So welcome everybody to today's happy hour, Viking Zoom. We are ecstatic to have everybody on the call. And along with me today, we're going to put up our agenda in just a second, but I want to welcome Lauren Green. Hi, Lauren. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello.
So for many of you who have joined us on our happy hours in the past, particular our Viking ones, Lauren has been our longtime business manager for Viking, and she's actually been a cruise rep for many years. We've had a lot of success working together, both at Viking and other places. She's the best in the business. And our last call, some of you might remember, she couldn't get to the call, and so she had taped a special message. So this time you actually have the real thing, live and in person.
Lucky you. Who knows what's going to happen tonight?
So welcome. Do you want to just share a little bit of your Viking journey?
Yeah, where do you want me to start? I've been with Viking for a few years now. I was with another cruise line previously. I've sailed on their river, one of them being the Danube Waltz, which we'll talk about tonight. So I'm really excited to share some personal experiences and stories and little secrets that you should all do or know about, and that you really only know if you sail. And then I've also been on ocean as well. So I'm happy to answer questions on that if anyone ever has questions on our ocean product. But it's just been an amazing experience. I love Viking, and specifically river cruising is so phenomenal. We'll get into all of that, so I'm sure I'll pipe in, but it's just been really, really amazing. So I'm excited you all get to experience it because it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. It's phenomenal.
Awesome. All right, so everybody should be able to see Unleash Your Wanderlust. Today, our journey is hosted by myself, Brett from Friendship Tours, and Lauren, who you've already met. Introduction, for those that aren't familiar with Friendship Tours, the ship shop. Friendship Tours was started in 1977. It was actually started by my mother. Today, my sister and I are lucky enough to be the owners, along with 9 of us, in Bloomfield, Connecticut, that are working. On this call, in addition to myself and Lauren, we have Donna, and Donna is the head of our ship shop, so you got to say that nice and slow, and Barbara, who also is in the ship shop, and Heidi. So those 3, and we actually have, I think Amy's joining us as well, and a couple other people from the office. But our goal is to give you a kind of an overview. So way back in 1977, Friendship Tours was started, but the real journey started in 1958. I know nobody remembers that time period on this call. You're all much too young. But in 1958, my mother got the crazy idea that she could bring her whole Girl Scout troop. They would raise money and go to Europe. And that's exactly what happened. They sold eggs locally, made enough money. They went out, sailed the St. Lawrence River to Europe, spent 2 months over there. And during that time, she fell in love with travel. And mostly she built friendships that lasted her entire lifetime. And that friendship through travel, that's actually where Friendship Tours gets its name. And that is definitely still our mission today, is creating those wonderful friendships. So hopefully on this call tonight, you'll get lots of information, and that will then lead you to being able to get on tour with us on, be it one of our day trips, our overnight trips, or one of these wonderful cruises, and this one in particular, which is our river cruise. So that's kind of the focus today. Donna's journey with us started quite a while ago. Donna, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Ooh, with it. That's Donna's picture, but that was a video.
No
Donna,
problem.
do you want to tell a little bit about your?
Sure. I mean, it's been a phenomenal ride. It's been almost 37 years. I think I started when I was in kindergarten. At least that's what we tell everybody anyway. But I basically grew up. Lois was my mentor for many years, and I just love what I do. So not many people can get up every day and say they love what they do. So I'm happy to be a part of this family, and I'm happy that the ship shop is where it's at today, and just many more great years to come. So, and I love Viking. I haven't done this one, but I have done the Rhine, which I love too. So.
Excellent. And so just so you know, not only do we promote Viking, but many of us actually do our vacations. So I've been on quite a few of the different rivers and ocean trips. And so we're excited to be able to share the Danube Waltz with you today. So this particular trip, you're going to see that we have the itinerary up here and the flyer. The flyer can be located on our website, friendshiptours.net. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And you'll see what we've done is we've put this as 8 days. Technically, it's a 9-day trip. And why do I say that? That's because we are going to fly together. And Donna, do you want to talk about transportation and flights?
Sure, absolutely. So our trip starts off with your escort and transportation to the airport. Currently, we plan to use Boston Logan as our gateway. And we travel together to the airport on April 27th, which I call day one. And we fly overnight to Munich. And so when we arrive in Munich, we then transfer the next day to Passau, where you board your ship and start your Viking journey. So you know, that's technically Viking's day one, when you arrive in Passau and board the ship. So, yep, we fly as a group, and Viking does a great job with the flights. And so your tour director will be with you the entire time. And yeah, it's easy. That's why we do it.
So again, when we start talking about day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, that's going to be the actual part of the trip. It's not going to include the flying day that we're already going to be in Munich, transferred to the ship, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I saw a lot of you have never river cruised. So let's talk a little bit about that experience. For many of us, the rivers in Europe are actually like the super highways of Europe. That was the way that everybody traveled for years and years and years. And so it's got this great river infrastructure all throughout Europe. And Viking, many of you got to know them early on when they were sponsors of Downton Abbey, Masterpiece Theater. They have built a brand. They're actually in their 25th year celebration right now, big anniversary. Some of you may have gotten booklets from them. And so it's been a really exciting time, and they have grown over the years. We'll show you something on that in a little bit, but let's talk specifically about your means of transportation. So a river cruise is different than other cruising. So first thing is, of course, Lauren, the wonderful ship that we're going to use, which is the Longships. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Longship?
Oh, happily. I love our ships. So we actually have about 80 of them in Europe. Good news is that if you've been on one, you've been on all 80. So congratulations, you are all world travelers. They are phenomenal. They're small ship cruising. So the maximum you'll ever be on is 190 guests. And they have all the staterooms in the back. You have a restaurant, which is beautiful, floor to ceiling windows. And then we have our aquavit terrace, which is al fresco dining outside. It's the same menu, but more casual. If you're running back from a shore excursion, you just want to grab a bite to eat and not change or anything. The aquavit terrace is perfect for that. We have our amazing Viking lounge and bar, which I'm sure you'll all get to know very well. And then our beautiful sun deck on the top, which I'll talk about what you use the sun deck the most for, in my opinion, when you're sailing specifically on the Danube Waltz. But it's just a beautiful space to be in, to sit up there. And the nice thing about river cruising is that you are seeing things on both sides of the river at all times. So you are never bored. You're never just out on the rivers not seeing anything. There's always really beautiful towns and cities that are passing you by everywhere that you go. So that's really what that sun deck is used for the viewing options. And then I think we have some more photos and things too.
We do. So these vessels are amazing. They're really well thought out. From literally that space that's up front that can open if it's a little cooler, it can shut part of that. The rooms, everything is completely well thought out on this ship. It's an engineering masterpiece. It's one of my favorite parts is everything that you're going to experience, down to even in your cabin, your toiletries. They're special. The owner has put lots of thought into the shower. He's thought about keeping the TV nice and simple. So it's all these details, and those details is what makes the trip so special. So first off, you're going to notice it's an understated elegance. Definitely has that Scandinavian feel. It's beautiful, big windows, really well lit, and lots of space in the rooms. The ship on this particular one has 4 decks. There is even a lift, or there are the stairs. So it's a very easy vessel to get around. So you're going to see that as you go through. Here is the main center of the ship. Basically, forward is going to be all the public areas, and aft is going to be where the cabins are. And right in the middle, which you can't quite see in here, would be the front desk. And they even have a little shop right there if you need an extra jacket, or my favorite backpack I've ever gotten for day tripping is actually from Viking. So this is the lounge area going out towards the terrace. It's again beautifully designed and put together. This would be the dining room. We'll talk a little bit about dining and things as we get going. This is the Aquavit terrace, the front, and again, the sun deck for you.
And it has a walking track around it as well. So if you want to
Yes,
be a better
and
person than me and exercise.
they
you can do
actually
that.
have a little putting area up at the front.
Donna's
It
laughing
has
at
an
me.
herb garden that the chefs actually do use. There's even solar panels along there. So they've really thought of kind of everything. There's also on this deck, the pilot house. And what's really enjoyable is they'll actually let you visit that. And that pilot house does actually go all the way down. And so does everything on this. It can go to the same level as the railing if they come across something low. So they've really thought of all the details. And then the cabins, spacious, simple, everything that you need, really well thought out. If you haven't seen Downton Abbey in a while, you can watch it on board. They have all of the different ones, so always exciting. And this is some of the people eating and doing those things. They have the full restaurant at breakfast. They do a buffet as well there, and they also have on the Aquavit Terrace options as well. Lauren, anything about food that you want to talk about?
We actually just won an award from the Food and Wine magazine for best food on our cruise ships. So that was really exciting. So no matter what, you will have a really amazing meal. You have beer, wine, and soft drinks included with lunch and dinner. And we always try to bring in local cuisine and local wine and local beer too. So even when we are sailing away from Austria or Germany or wherever we are, we will make sure that a part of that menu does have local Austrian food or Germany food. We'll have Taste of Germany events or Taste of Austria events in the restaurant where we dress it up like a authentic Austrian restaurant, and all of the waiters and waitresses dress up. And it's a really fun experience. They'll have a great cuisine in the middle, a buffet style, and then also our general menu with some locals too. So it's a lot of fun because no matter what you're doing, you're still bringing in the location and the destination that you're traveling through. And it's always delicious. Oh, and there's cookies, warm cookies with the coffees and teas at all times too. So
and it's a great coffee.
That's a very important piece.
There's
because we took that away and people got very
if you're a coffee lover or a tea lover, there's plenty of tea, but the
yes,
coffee machine is a great little espresso machine. Yeah. It will do all kinds of different things. So never looking for food. Then the other thing is the staff. So because this is a smaller vessel, in some ways, sometimes it reminds me almost of like a motor coach trip through Europe, in that you're immersed in the culture, in the places that you're going, but you're not getting up every night and having to move your bags. So you're on your floating hotel. It's bringing you right to the centers of these cities, and it's just a wonderful way. Now, in addition to that, are the staff that are going to bring you and teach you all about the areas that you're going. So here they're actually doing a briefing on one of the journeys that's happening. So that's an example of some of the entertainment. But for those that are first-time cruisers, let's give you an experience of what to expect.
If it's the first time you're going on a Viking River Cruise, let us give you an idea of what you'll experience and what life is like on your Viking ship. The moment you step on board, you'll realize that these ships are very special. They're designed specifically for river cruising, light, airy, and wonderfully spacious, with panoramic windows to make the most of the ever-changing views. And as there are no waves, you won't get seasick. You'll be pleasantly surprised when you check into your comfortable stateroom, all of which have wonderful river views. You'll find ensuite facilities and plenty of storage space. You can spend as much time as you like watching the world go by from one of the many elegant public areas on each ship. Relax on the sun deck. Enjoy a drink in the stylish and spacious lounge, or just read a book in the library. The food on board your Viking cruise ship is exceptional. From a sumptuous breakfast and a delicious lunch to a 5-course dinner, you'll enjoy the finest cuisine. The dress code is casual and comfortable, so there's no need to dress up for dinner. And there's no seating plan. You can sit wherever and with whomever you like. This is what life on board your floating hotel will be like. But unlike a hotel, it's taking you to different places. Places you can explore each time your ship arrives. Often mooring right in the heart of a famous city or a quaint little village. Every Viking River Cruise offers a great selection of excursions, included in the price. Of course, there's always opportunities to explore on your own. If you're cruising with Viking for the first time, you'll be pleasantly surprised by what's included in the price. All meals on board. We'll even give you complimentary wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. And the price includes a host of fascinating shore excursions, so it's great value for money. We hope this gives you some idea of what to expect on your first Viking River Cruise, and we look forward to welcoming you on board.
So that gives you a good feel for all the different things that are included in this trip. And this trip is definitely about learning the areas that we're going to and being immersed in the culture, not only the food, but also the history, the sites, and then the people. And as Lauren said, often at night, they will actually bring on entertainers from the local area. And then there are shore excursions and things that you can go and add on as well. So there's, Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about shore excursions and how that kind of works?
Yes, so in every port of call that you are in, you will have one included shore excursion. And as we go through the itinerary, I'll talk about what you can expect on this specific one. But for any of our cruises, every shore excursion is included in every port of call has one shore excursion included. Wow, so sorry. And then we also have optional excursions to choose from too. So here at Viking, we know that our guests have different interests and passions depending on what you want to see and what you want to do in these areas that you're traveling to. And so a lot of our shore excursions, optional shore excursions, are usually categorized into 3 different ways depending on what you're interested in. We have local life, working world, and privileged access. So when you are going through your shore excursion list, if there is something, if you really want to see the way that, you know, how, if you were to live in some of these places, what would you do for money? What would you do to work there? That would be in the working world experience. If you wanted to live life like a local for the day and maybe go to the thermal baths in Budapest, you can do that. And then privilege access is really an experience that you would only get with Viking. And we usually have it bannered on the shore excursion. You'll see that. And it's, you know, a private tour or before, after hours access to museums or art collections or whatever it may be, all over the world. So they're just all really special experiences depending on what you want to see and what you want to do.
And I think it's one of the things that really makes it special. When we were in the Netherlands in Hoorn, we actually were there right before King's Day, and we ended up having coffee and tea at a local's home and just finding about what King's Day celebration in the Netherlands was. And it was so much fun. They had a special dessert, and we really got to know what that was all about and what the holiday was. When I was in Dresden, we did an after hours concert specifically with the under 30 up and coming best string players in that part of Germany. So you have these great opportunities. So it's definitely something you want to keep in mind. Now on this, we're doing the Danube River. Danube River is definitely one of the richest dramatic history areas that you're going to do. The culture on the river, I think it's probably one of the trips that people enjoy doing. All of the cruises for Viking are really well thought out and great, but this is one that consistently we get asked to put out on the road constantly. So this year, just like we're doing in October, a escorted trip this year for Paris. Well, we're starting in Zurich, finishing in Paris. This next year in 2024, we're going to do the Danube Waltz, which is 8 days of travel, 9 when you consider our 1 day of flying. It's going to be April 27 through May 5th. And you can see Budapest is going to be Passau to Budapest. So it's a really great way to kind of start. And we actually have a couple of us that have done it. So Barb is on the call, and I know she was on this with one of our groups from Friendship Tours back in, Barb, was it 2019, 18?
19.
Yep.
October 19.
Excellent. And so why don't you tell them what they're seeing here?
Well, some of those photos were of, the top one is from Cesky, which was this most beautiful little medieval city, some fabulous shopping, some great history. There's a little bear that lives in the moat. It was just magical.
And that's Czech Republic. Yeah. So we'll show you a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Then you're on the front of the ship in the picture down on the right. What I love is you will experience locks. So if you're looking in the center, Barb, do you want to tell them what that is?
That's one of the locks that was so amazing, going through the locks, just the engineering marvel. One of the locks, we actually went over, the entire town comes out and stands on top of one of the locks and watches and waves. We waved up to them, they waved down to us. It was just amazing to do.
And then, of course, the sunsets and sunrises are gorgeous. And then in the lower right-hand corner, those are some local performers, correct?
Correct. That was our Austrian night. And we had beer and pretzels and local cuisine for dinner. And it was just a lot of fun.
And these are pictures that Barb took. So I always like to show you the ones that we've actually had people take, so you can get a feeling for what you're going to really experience. Lauren, I know in the upper left, that's one of your favorite parts of this trip. We'll talk about that at the end, right?
Yes, we will. I'll mention that. For sure.
And so it gives you kind of a feel for some of that. So let's get into the itinerary itself. Again, we'll leave this up. 9 days, including your flight. You have 6 guided tours in here. If you were to do that extra stop, you could technically get to 5 countries with Czech Republic. And why don't we just go right into them? This is the map for those that love to see a map. We're going to start in Passau. We're going to finish in Budapest. This is the example of what we're looking at. And this is a short video on the itinerary.
Our Danube Waltz itinerary offers 8 days of enrichment amid the cultures of 3 European countries. Stroll the cobbled streets of Passau, Germany. Enjoy a call in Linz, Austria. Experience the true beauty of the region with scenic sailing on the Danube through the enchanting Wachau Valley. Then it's on to Krems with its still-working Gottweig Abbey. In Imperial Vienna, you'll be seduced by history and Baroque splendor. Tour Slovakia's capital of Bratislava and see its imposing castle. Before arriving in your final destination, magnificent Budapest.
And so we will fly into Munich, we'll transfer over to Passau, and the ships actually are right there along the city. Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about Passau?
Yeah, sure. You can actually go to the next slide if you'd like to.
Yeah.
But we will have, well, you're going to arrive in Passau on your first day, and you will have a welcome walk. So whoever would like to, I rarely make those because I'm so tired, but you can have a welcome walk with one of our guides, and they'll kind of take you around and give you like a really quick snippet of the area. And then the following day, on day 2, your like true first day in one of these ports, you will have a walking tour included in Passau. Now we dock right in the heart of the town. I believe the next slide shows you exactly where we dock.
Yep.
And okay, so Passau's amazing. It is a beautiful town that was put together, and it's considered the city of 3 rivers. So it's the Inn, the Ilz, and the Danube rivers all converge in one spot. There you go. This is a beautiful photo. They're all different colors, so you can actually see all 3 of them come together. There is a little hill that you can walk up with a restaurant at the top where you can see all 3 of the rivers come together. So if any of my active people, that's a really nice thing to do during your free time in Passau. In the morning, you're going to wake up. Your walking tour will be about 2.5 hours, if I can remember correctly. And this will walk you through all of the history of Passau. You will go through all of the different Baroque architecture, the famous buildings. We'll walk around the river. And then you will end up at the cathedral, St. Stephen's Cathedral, which has one of the largest pipe organs in all of Europe. It's absolutely amazing. depending on time of year, I think for you guys, end of April, you should be able to see it. Depends what day of the week you're there, but a lot of times they will do around noon, 12:30. They will have a little like short performance on the organ, so you can stand there and really take it in. It is life-changing. It is absolutely spectacular. And in front of the cathedral is a really nice little square. So a lot of times local vendors will be popped up there. You can shop, just enjoy, explore. My advice for Passau is to really just enjoy the town. It's really spectacular. If you want to do a very unique optional excursion, there is the fairy tale Neuschwanstein Castle by plane. So this is where a very famous landmark that inspired Disney. It's a fairy tale castle that inspired Walt Disney. It is a flight over the surrounding countryside. And then you will meet your guide there, transfer to Neuschwanstein. And this is where you will actually have a full tour of the castle, all of the history. It has incredible architecture, and of course was the initial inspiration to Walt Disney for creating a lot of his movies and princesses being stuck in castles and all of that stuff. So that is a pretty much an all-day experience. So you really won't see Passau too much. So maybe if you've been there before, this would be a great option. Or if you don't care for Passau, this is a great opportunity.
And
the next,
it's definitely one of those special opportunities. When we were in Prague, we had access to the castle there, which is something that's really unique and different. And it's great to get these behind the scene kind of opportunities. I know Lauren talked about the organ before. This is the largest actually in Europe. And sometimes you do get to hear the concert part, which is really neat. There's lots of different options. And I know that's kind of the time period that we have there.
Yes, we travel at night, and then the next day we'll arrive into Linz. When you wake up in Linz, you will set off to explore this cultural city on foot. You will also be able to take a train into the city too. There's like kind of it's a short little train into the little city center. If you go to the next photo, I think it shows you the actual center of Linz. And you'll have a walking tour through there. So you'll experience all the charms of this capital of Upper Austria through a walking tour. It was founded by the Romans. It rose to prominence under the Habsburg Empire, but today it really remains a very vibrant cultural city center. So that's one option. And then the other option is if you would like to forego Linz and not see Linz, there is an all-day excursion, which Barbara mentioned, where you wake up in the first thing in the morning, you get on a motor coach, you take about a 2.5-hour ride across the border to Czech Republic, and you go into Cesky Krumlov, and it is by far my most favorite excursion I've ever taken out of anything I've ever done. It does sell out. There's only one motor coach that can go, so there's not a lot of space for it. So you definitely want to book ASAP as soon as you can. But it is a beautiful experience. Our personal tour guide, I don't know who Barbara had, but my tour guide was born there, raised there, still lived there. He showed us we waved to his apartment as we drove by. So we got a true experience. He was the first 10 years of his life living in Cesky Krumlov was under the communist regime. And so there's a lot of history in Cesky Krumlov that we may not think about. It's a tiny little town in the Czech Republic. And so he goes through all that history, and then you have a full walking tour. You have the best lunch you'll ever have in this town, and then you have like 3.5 hours of free time to just enjoy. So all these photos were us just like putzing around and taking pictures. It was amazing. Oh, Barbara's saying she had the same guide. Okay, see, so there you go. He was the best, and it was so enlightening and fascinating to hear from his point of view. I mean, he was telling us stories about going grocery shopping and that he would have to separate from his brothers, and they would all have to go buy one set of bananas separately to have enough bananas for the family. And then he remembers the day that they reached freedom. And I mean, it goes all the way up until when we were there, they had just done the last set of voting for their government to not have any communists on their government panel. So, I mean, it's been decades of this, and it was really a phenomenal experience. Not to mention, it is the most adorable fairy tale Disney little town you'll ever be in your life. So highly recommend Cesky Krumlov if you can do it. We will travel into Krems the next day. And so Krems is a really nice highlight of the Danube. It's really beautiful. This is where you're going to see, if anyone ever talks to you about the rolling hills of Austria, this is where you'll see it, is in Krems. So you're going to wake up, you're going to take a motor coach out through the town of Krems, and then we will arrive into the Gottweg Abbey. I think the next couple slides. Oh,
So
this
you
is a
really
beautiful
see the
area.
countryside. One of my
It's so
favorite
pretty.
things on the rivers, especially in this area of the world, is to see the farmlands and grapes and
Mhm.
everything, just the rolling hills as you go by. And then this
Yes.
is Gottweg Abbey.
Yes, so this is a privileged access experience that is included. So this is one of those special experiences I was talking about. It is a full private tour just for Viking guests. You have a local guide and you take a full tour of this working monastery. It's been around for more than 900 years. There's a lot of history here. The architecture and the art of this abbey is spectacular. The church inside of it, it is really phenomenal. But the best part is that they make apricot wine and liqueur here. So you get to actually taste it at the end of the tour. You go down into the cellar, you can taste it. I'm actually allergic to peaches and apricot, so I couldn't taste it, but maybe Barb did. And then they have a really great shop where you can purchase some to take home. Oh, they have great brandy too, see? And
so the
a nice
style
little
is going to
shop.
be Baroque style. And what's unique
Yes.
about the abbeys is the back with the emperor, when they would travel during the Habsburg dynasty, they would actually stay at abbeys. So they had to be built to house the royal family. And so when you go into this, it's all this beautiful Baroque style. The staircase is magnificent. There's actually marble. Each of the months is represented. And it's just a beautiful place. So you think of an abbey as this very religious, but it also had the royal family. So you get a great example of Baroque style architecture.
Yeah, they have you look in mirrors to see art certain way, and it's really spectacular.
Including the ceiling, right, Lauren?
Yes, the ceiling, you know what I mean? Yes.
Is magnificent. So if you've ever really loved different architecture, this is called Grand Baroque style. So really neat. And then even for those of you that might be a little bit more active, what I love on these trips is these are they're active trips. They also will show you a little bit later for those that are a little bit gentle walking. They have some options there too, but this would be a biking tour.
Yes, it's an e-bike that will take you. You do have a guide and you're on an electric bike or an e-bike, and it'll take you through the Wachau Valley. So if any of you have ever wanted to e-bike or just enjoy cycling, this is a great option because it's really beautiful as you travel along the Danube. It's amazing.
And Lauren, I know we didn't talk about it, but when you actually are on a Viking tour in your cabin, when you first go, they will teach you all of the different ways to use your television, literally the floor is heated. They've got all these things, but one of the features is when you're going on these tours, they have what's called a whisper system. So that's where you have earphones and your guides are going to have microphones. And so even if you're in a church and they can't talk loudly, they can whisper and you still hear everything. And for those of you that like to take pictures and kind of wander a little bit, they will work over 50 meters away. And so you do want to keep up with your guides. But what I love is you're not feeling like you're all, little ducklings walking in a row. And so that definitely enhances the experience. It's called a whisper system. And this will bring us to Vienna.
Yes, Vienna, one of my favorites. Vienna is the capital, Austria. And on this day, you will have a half day included a panoramic tour. So this will take you through all the highlights of Vienna, everything that you want to see. You will go to the famous Opera House, St. Stephen's Cathedral, Hofburg Palace, and you will have an expert, phenomenal local guide that will show you everything. The cathedral is amazing. So you'll tour through there. And then after that tour, you have the option to either come back to the ship. The city center is about 20 minutes away from the ship. So you can come back to the ship with the bus, have lunch on the ship, and then go on to other optional excursions, or you can stay in Vienna and just enjoy and have free time. And then you're just responsible for coming back to the ship by the time that we would need to leave. Some other options that there are, I think the following photo is a really pretty fountain. This is one of the museums in Vienna. Yeah, the Kunstmuseum in Vienna. It's really beautiful. And then you also will have the option to do Schönbrunn Palace. Oh, this is a great panoramic shot. You can see, so if you're ever lost in Vienna, which can happen, I've been there, you just look for the top of the cathedral, St. Stephen's Cathedral, and you know if you walk towards it, that's when you know you can get to the center of the city, and then you can find your way from there. So that's my one little tip for you guys if you get lost in Vienna.
There are some wonderful special trips that they offer. They change. Many of us have heard of the Vienna Boys Choir. From time to time, that's an option. The Lippizaners.
Horses.
Yes, for sure. This one I always love. This is a concert experience. And of course, the food is magnificent in Vienna. And so you have to have local fare and some beers at some point, right? Or wine or things that you like. And I think this is your picture, correct?
Yes, actually, my husband took this at Café Central, which is one of the more famous. There's 3 main cafes to try when you're in Vienna to have the special Vienna coffee. And and so this is one of the main ones. It was really good. This is the soccer torte cake. I don't know how I feel about it. If anyone else has been to Vienna, you let me know what your thoughts are on it. But what's really great, and we didn't talk about this either, is the night before you arrive into your next port, our program director will be in the Viking Lounge before dinner and talk to you all about your next port. And we don't do those general port talks of like how to shop in St. Thomas or whatever it is. We do a very in-depth, enriching cultural talks. So for example, before we got to Vienna, we all came into the Viking Lounge and our program director went through an entire PowerPoint on how to order coffee in Vienna, because this is very important. Otherwise, you will have way too much liqueur in your coffee and you won't make it back to the ship. So
if you thought Starbucks invented different coffees, you're completely off. The Viennese have been doing it for generations, and there's lots of ways to order.
They know how to do it right, I have to say. So that's something that, and then they'll always recommend different cafes and places to go to. Okay, we are starting now to get to the backside of the Danube River. So this is Bratislava. In Bratislava, we are in Slovakian capital. It is a vibrant yet very relaxed cultural center. There's a ton of history in Bratislava. I think it gets skipped over in the history books a lot, but there is a lot that this little tiny town and city went through all the wars. And so you will have a full walking tour that will start right where the ship is. And you will walk all through the city center and the town with a local guide. There's also the panoramic tour. You can both are included, so you can choose between either one. You can take the panoramic or the walking tour. The panoramic tour will take you on a bus up to the main castle and then bring you back down into the city center, and that's where you'll do your walking tour. This is one of the photos my husband took as the sun was setting. It was really beautiful, and these really cool like little carts that drive through there is a lot of fun.
So these tend to be fairly active, but there are variations that you can do. So I always like when people ask, how active a tour is it? It can be as active as you'd like if you want to do some biking and some climbing in the different hills and things, but then they're very aware of the different people that are going to be on the tours. So these are an example. When I was in a couple other towns, they had ways that the walking tours could be basically what they called more of a gentle walking group. So they have great guides that are with both groups. So if you want to do it one day and then you want to do a more advanced tour a different day, that's completely fine. And Bratislava has some of the most fun artwork. Did you see some of the whimsical art all throughout the town?
Oh yes, and the little man who's coming out of the ground, and yeah, they have a lot of fun stuff.
And it's a fun, vibrant city. There's a good music scene there, food. So really, really fun. And then this is, I think, a picture at night. That church that's up on the hill is sometimes called the upside down table, or
Yes.
if you imagine it like an ottoman, right, on the other side. So it's just a really pretty, wonderful little area. And these are what I love about river cruising is you're going along and you're finding places that you might not get to any other way. And so it's just a really immersive experience into these. And if you went into Czech Republic, you'd actually hit 5 different countries. If you don't, 4 on this particular trip. And we haven't even gotten to the highlight, which of course would be Budapest, the cities of Buda and Pest to be called Budapest.
Yes, it comes together. It used to be 2 cities, and it's basically connected by the chain bridge, essentially. And you will have your included tour, will be a panoramic tour of Budapest. So you will start on the Pest side, which is where our ship docks underneath the chain bridge. And you'll go to the National Opera House, historic Hero Square, and then your bus will take you across to Buda Hill. And this is where you will walk along. Oh yeah, this is a shot from the other side of the river. It's really beautiful. You will walk along Castle Hill. So Fisherman's Bastion and Matthias Church is there. Honestly, photos don't do this justice. It's really spectacular, but you will have a tour through there, and then you will get a private tour through the cathedral, and then you'll have free time to walk around, enjoy all of Buda Hill. There's really adorable shops and great food, great little coffee houses, things like that. So just enjoy. This is the pedestrian only street that comes out of the Great Market Hall. So when you are done with your panoramic tour, we'll take you back to the ship for lunch, and then you are free to go. So you can go to the Great Market Hall if you want to have lunch there. You can. This is a really great pedestrian street if you need souvenirs, if you want local Hungarian food, whatever you prefer. And then you have a lot of optional excursions to choose from in Budapest. So you can do Castle Hill City hike if you would like to. It's so beautiful there. I just love Budapest. We also have an optional excursion for the Doheny Street Synagogue and Jewish Budapest. So you can really immerse yourself in that really cherished history of the Jewish quarter and the beautiful, massive synagogue that's there. It's spectacular. You can do some local shopping with a chef and with a local guide. And
so this is a really special opportunity. Actually, with the chef from the ship, they'll actually go into the market. And what I loved, we were talking about food before. On one of the trips that I was on, we had an individual that she had a lot of food allergies. And the first day the chef came out to go over all of it, and she looked at him and said, "Oh, you're going to think I'm the biggest pain." And he said, "No." He's like, "This gives me an opportunity to use my skills." And he embraced, like, every night he would do some different things. And so this opportunity to go with them to the market is really, this is an actual market that Hungarians are going to. What I love is Viking has so many resources on their website. When you do sign up for your trip, you have a special access. And if you want to do some research ahead of time, like you want to know about borscht, you could watch a video on that. During the pandemic, they started Viking TV, and there are all these great videos of these different areas. So you can learn. If you like video, you can do that. Or if you like books, they give reading lists that you can do. So you really can get immersed even before you travel to know maybe what you want to go and see. So it's one of the really great things. Again, the goal is for you to be a part of where you're going and experience it. And again, that's a great shore excursion, an opportunity. This is if you know the Hungarians, it has the history going back to the Romans. There are aqueducts and all kinds of things in Budapest. And of course, with the Romans came baths and the bathing culture, the bath culture. Did you get to go and see this at all, Lauren?
I didn't get to do this, no. Unfortunately, I did not have time because I had so many things I had to do. Actually, the reason I didn't have time was because my grandparents are from Hungary, and we were able to, after our tour, I actually asked our tour guide where this specific street was that my grandpa grew up on, and he was like, "We were just there, it's on Buda Hill." And I was like, "What?" So he helped me get a cab And we went back over to Buda Hill after lunch, and I found the street that my grandfather grew up on in Hungary. So I was busy doing that. I didn't get to
Very
film
cool.
all that.
And so this is where you may consider doing an extension, because that would give you a little bit more time to do
Yes.
some of these different things.
Wish I had. Yes,
And-
that's my biggest regret, was not doing extensions. So if you guys have time, please do it, because it's definitely worth it.
And Donna can definitely help with that. Now, one of the other things, I know I love this picture of you. Do you want to tell them what they're seeing on the right? And then on
yes,
the left is an experience that is specifically why we're doing this in the order that we're doing it. So do you want to explain what you're doing on the right?
Yeah, so that was during our panoramic tour. We were up on Buda Hill, and so that's looking across the river at the Parliament building. And the rest, and actually our ship is like right to the right of that, I think it was. So I just thought that was a really cool shot, because it just showed the views that you get when you're up on Buda Hill, and where the Fisherman's Bastion is, everything, and you can see across at Pest, the Pest side of the city. And then the left-hand one is, I mean, just I took this as we were sailing away at night, because I went the opposite direction, but
So
we were sailing away at night.
on ours, we will actually come in the evening, and you will sail and see the whole city lit up. And it's something I know that Barb had done on her trip as well. It's a really special experience. What we didn't talk about is, many times, I know Lauren had talked about that you sail sometimes at night and you're coming into the cities. That's when there isn't something on the river that they really want you to see. So sometimes you will sail during the day. But what's wonderful is you wake up in the morning, you're often already have arrived, you have your breakfast, then you go off, and most of the time you'll do kind of a panoramic walking tour to learn the area. Then if you are like in Vienna and you want to stay off and do lunch and do all these other things, you can 100% do that. Or you come back, and then in the afternoon, that's where a lot of these optional. So either you've learned the city and you know a restaurant or something you want to go see, and you go off and do that on your own, or you can add these other experiences. Then you generally come back for dinner, and you still are in the area. You may not actually sail or go down the river till sometimes even 2 in the morning. And so what that means is, if you want to experience some of these places at night, you do have that opportunity. Now, there is some light entertainment on board. There's a piano player and usually a singer. In different areas, they'll do some local things. When I was on the Elbe River, again, we were near Potsdam and some of these great classical music like Vienna. And so they brought people to come on and do like a piano recital and play different things. So you never know what that will be. And that's actually all described to you by the staff right on the boats. They have a person that's in charge. They do that briefing that Lauren was talking about each night, so that you can figure out what is it that you want to do. And again, the staff, they do this all the time, so they know the special ins and outs, and they can give you advice on what you might want to do with your time. So if you are like me, I like to go and see everything that I can. Sometimes I drive my wife crazy, so she'll stay back and just have a nice drink or something, and I'll go walk all around the city and explore. And the best thing is the other people on board. I always meet really interesting passengers, both in our group and on the ship. At 170 some odd people, 190 maximum, you constantly meet people that share the same love for travel. And I think one of the really special parts is experiencing these places with others and building not only the friendships, but that shared experience. And that's what I would say these trips are. They are a really special experience of the places that you're going. And on our last day, we of course have this beautiful backdrop before we then head to the airport and leave. If you've done an extension, you could certainly do that. So for the information on this trip, you can find our flyer right on the website, friendshiptours.net. You'll see all the details on the itinerary. On the backside, you'll see the different cabins. So on here, you have standard outside staterooms, French balcony, and veranda. So let's talk about what those are. Now, the rooms to me are one of the best parts. So this is an example of a veranda stateroom. So when you're looking down the center of the ship, you'll actually notice the walkway is off a little bit. And that is because they've designed this so you have the maximum space in these cabins. So with the veranda, you have the whole living space, and then you have that little balcony, right? So what they've done, and if you look on the far left, that's the bathroom. They are made so well, plenty of space, great amenities in there. It's again, the details that you'll see all throughout.
Heated tile floors.
Yes, the tile floors, the heated floor, the night light. There's a little button that at night you actually press so that you can find, you know, your way without any issues. All these little details, lots of USB plugs and things like that. So Wi-Fi included. This would be a French balcony. So if you look, the actual cabin is about the same size, but it's facing a different direction. And that's because they figured out by having the cabin in this direction, they can actually get more cabins in a line. And so they can better use the ship. And so it's wider than it is long. Whereas if you look at the other one, it was the other direction. So it was basically wider than it was on the long side. And so when they put those there, all of the balconies are on one side and all the French balconies are on the other side. So a French balcony has a sliding glass door, but you can't walk out. So you get the nice open air, but you don't have the balcony that you're going on. Any descriptions or anything that you would share, Lauren?
Sorry, I was muted. I don't think so. I think that covers it. They all have, I'm trying to think of what's included. They all have heated tile floors. You have bottled water. You have robes and slippers as well.
They all have refrigerators. So if you need to bring something and put it in there, you can. You can actually bring alcohol back on. That's always a nice thing as well.
No corkage fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
This would be what they call a standard stateroom. So you'll notice the window, so no balcony, no French balcony, is up at the top there. And if you're looking at the ship, this is on the lowest level. And so also beautifully laid out, you have all the open area up on deck. So this is a great way to travel, a little bit lower price, and kind of gives you all of that. So how do you book? For more information, visit our website, www.friendshiptours.net, where a day-to-day itinerary, pricing, and flyer are available. To book, give us a call at 860-243-1630. And for those that might be interested in one of the additions, these would be examples of what those would be. And Donna, do you want to chime in a little bit and talk about the booking process?
Well, now I want to go. I mean, that was just now having done the Rhine, now I'm ready for the Danube. That was really great, guys. Thank you. So yes, if you need any more information, feel free to give us a call. I'm happy to go through the different types of rooms, where they're located. And we'll talk about, like, right now the air is at $5.99 round trip. So I don't know if anybody has been watching airfares to Europe, but I can tell you they are astronomical. So for $5.99 round trip, this is a very good buy. So that is good until May 31st. We don't know or ever do know what's going to happen in June until June 1st. So we know that right now it is $5.99. So that is guaranteed if you book by May 31st. Final payments are all due by July 14th of 2023. And I'm happy to help you with either, they offer this, Viking is great. They have this program where if you do your final payment by checking account, you save 3.3% off the final payment amount. So you get a little bit of a discount, which is awesome. So I would walk you through how to do that. We would talk about any special requirements, any special requests. So just, yeah, give us a call. We already have people that have reserved and are very excited. You know, they see our escorted cruises, and I think everybody's just ready to go. But if you do want to do a pre or post, we can talk about the logistics of that in regards to transportation. It just would be handled a little bit differently, you know, to and from Boston. So feel free to ask questions on that.
Excellent. And I wanted to end just with the owner of Viking. I think he really puts in the details. And this, of course, is the 25 years. It feels like Viking has been around for a really, really long time. Amazingly, 25 years. And I thought we would end with this today.
To everyone in the Viking family, happy 25th anniversary. It is hard to believe that the little company we started on August 5th, 1997, has become the Viking of today. But we knew even from those early days that we wanted Viking to be different. We had a vision that travel could be more destination-focused and culturally enriching. We wanted to offer experiences designed for the thinking person. I like to say it all began with 2 guys and 2 mobile phones. 25 years ago, we invented the category of modern river voyages, and soon after that, we introduced our concept on the waterways of Europe. In 2012, we introduced our revolutionary Viking longships, which have now become synonymous with European river voyages. With the introduction of our small ship ocean voyages in 2015, we reinvented the category and brought the focus back to the destinations. In the years since, we've built an identical fleet of elegant, all-veranda sister ships. Now we are perfecting expedition voyages and taking our guests even further to some of the most pristine destinations on Earth. We have really become a global brand, one Viking, with 10,000 employees exploring 20 rivers, 5 oceans, 5 Great Lakes, and all 7 continents, all in comfort. Our approach has resonated with curious travelers, and we're very proud to have been voted the world's #1, both for oceans and rivers, by both Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast Traveler. No other cruise line has simultaneously earned #1 in its categories from both of these prestigious publications. We still think of ourselves as a little company, but I must say that what we have managed to accomplish is remarkable. And one thing is for sure, we did not get here alone. Our success is thanks to those in our extended Viking family, our wonderful guests, and our dedicated staff. To our guests, thank you for continuing to trust us with your travels. We look forward to welcoming you back on board soon. And to our staff, thank you for making Viking who we are. The first 25 years have been good, but I feel we're just getting started. This year, we're taking delivery of our first expedition ship, the Viking Atlantis, and we will soon welcome her sister ship, the Viking Polaris. Our new vessel on the Mekong, the Viking Saigon, is currently sailing her first voyage. Later this month, we will launch a new ship on the Nile, the Viking Osiris, and we will bring our modern river voyages to America for the first time with the arrival of the Viking Mississippi. We have come really far in these 25 years, but I suspect we have much further to go. When you reach the top, there's really only one way to go: onwards.
Viking, exploring the world in comfort.
And so we want to thank you for attending today. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. And this, of course, will wrap up today. If anyone has any questions, now would be the time. If you want to go ahead and unmute, you're welcome to do that. And Donna, did we have any in the, I see a couple in the chat.
I answered them, I think. I'm hoping I answered them. We had a question about the all being outside cabins, so I tried to clarify the standard outside as best I could. so that being like, we call that the swan view, you
Yeah.
see the swans kind of going by, but yeah, so there's I had that type of cabin when I was on board, so I thought it was just fine. So there's type of cabin for every budget, basically.
Excellent. We work really hard to try to make sure that we have experienced it ourselves so that we know we can help. And Donna does a fantastic job, along with Barbara has done this trip. Heidi and I have been on many times. The other owner of Friendship Tours, my sister Amy, is actually going to be doing this summer, this particular itinerary. So we are here to help you. And Lauren, thank you for joining us. The staff is what makes Viking so special, and you really feel it and see it. And that is definitely true with the support that we get from Lauren and from Viking in general. So thank you for everybody joining us today. And again, if you have a question, we'll stay on. Otherwise, we're going to conclude for the day. And this video will come out to everybody. So if you wanted to see something again, you can. And if you want to get more information, there is so much great information that Viking has put together. So you can start your learning the minute you sign up.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lauren, as
See you on the
always.
waltz.
So good to see you.
Always good.
Well, thanks again. And if you have any questions, I see everybody kind of looking, so I'm going to say that we're good. Jim, thanks for joining us. I know I see lots of people's names
Jim's
on here.
Yay.
And we'll look forward to seeing everybody on a Viking River Cruise soon. And maybe you saw another one of the trips that might pique your interest. So the ocean ships are fantastic, the new expedition, and now with the Mississippi. And I have family friends that just got back from Egypt and had an amazing time. So lots of opportunities. The owner always talks about be curious, and I think that's a great way to look at travel. It's the best time to get back out there. So thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.